Today we're taking a deep dive into the world of human connection
Right.
with David Brooks' book, How to Know a Person.
Okay.
We'll be uncovering insightful stories and practical advice for truly understanding those around us.
Absolutely. We're going to go beyond those surface level interactions and explore how our past shapes us.
Okay.
We're going to delve a bit into brain science and uncover the secrets to navigating difficult conversations and building deeper relationships.
Sounds good. Brooks starts by confessing his own struggles with intimacy.
Uh-huh.
He admits he used to be a master at avoiding deep connections.
Right.
I think we can all relate to that feeling of vulnerability when someone tries to get to know the real you.
Oh, for sure. I think we all have that experience of kind of putting up walls.
Right.
And he connects this personal struggle to a broader societal trend. He argues we've become so focused on achievement
Yeah.
that we've neglected the development of crucial relational skills.
So it's as though we're prioritizing building a resume over building those meaningful bonds with the people around us.
Precisely. Brooks contrasts this with the allure of social media,
Okay.
which offers the illusion of connection without the vulnerability of true intimacy.
Interesting. So tell me about this anecdote about LaRue Dorsey.
Yeah, so Brooks shares this captivating anecdote about meeting LaRue Dorsey, a resident of Waco, Texas,
Okay.
with his longtime friend Jimmy.
I found this story so insightful. The way Jimmy interacts with Mrs. Dorsey, seeing her so fully and vibrantly,
Right.
is a powerful example of what Brooks calls an illuminator's gaze.
Absolutely. It's not just about seeing someone. It's about understanding their perspective, recognizing their soul, and appreciating their unique experiences.
Do you think it's possible for us to cultivate this kind of deep seeing with people in our own lives?
Absolutely. Brooks challenges us to look at others with tenderness, generosity, and an authentic curiosity.
Okay.
He stresses the importance of recognizing the inherent dignity and worth of each person. This type of recognition, despite our differences, forms the foundation for respectful and genuine connections.
Brooks then takes a detour through literature, recounting a heart-wrenching story from a book about the 2004 tsunami.
Yes.
It's about a couple, Delphine and Jerome, who lose their daughter Juliet in the disaster.
Right. And this tragedy serves as the backdrop for a profound concept that each individual is essentially a point of view, constantly constructing their own reality based on their unique experiences.
I see. Think about those moments when you've felt profoundly misunderstood.
Right.
There's actually a scientific basis for this phenomenon.
Brooks explains how our brains rely on past experiences to create models of the world.
Okay.
It's a constant process of prediction and correction, but those predictions can sometimes obscure the unexpected.
He uses the example of the invisible gorilla experiment,
Yes.
where participants focused on counting basketball passes completely miss a gorilla walking across the screen.
And another example he cites is the door-carrying experiment, where people engaged in conversation fail to notice when their conversation partner is switched mid-conversation.
Wow.
These experiments highlight how our pre-existing beliefs shape what we perceive and what we miss.
So it seems our brains are constantly trying to simplify the world, fitting people into neat categories.
Yes.
How can we combat this tendency and truly understand someone?
Brooks emphasizes the need for what he terms active curiosity.
Okay.
It's about approaching conversations with a willingness to be surprised, challenge our assumptions, and embrace a fresh perspective.
He offers some practical advice on becoming better conversationalists.
Uh-huh.
One suggestion is to treat attention like an on-off switch rather than a dimmer.
Interesting.
It's about being fully present in the moment and resisting distractions.
He also advocates for active listening, where we become more like hosts at a dinner party,
Okay.
creating a warm and welcoming atmosphere for the other person to share their thoughts and feelings.
One tip I found particularly insightful is focusing on past experiences by asking, what was that like?
Right.
This goes beyond gathering facts, encouraging individuals to explore the emotional landscape of their experiences.
It's about inviting them to unravel their story, revealing those formative experiences that have molded them into the people they are today.
Brooks introduces us to his friend David Bradley, who has a unique method for understanding people.
Okay.
He utilizes index cards, focusing on 3 key areas: goals, skills, and schedule.
It's a brilliant strategy for gaining a holistic understanding of an individual.
Right.
By examining their aspirations, talents, and how they structure their time, you gain valuable insights into their motivations and priorities.
He champions the use of narrative and open-ended questions. Instead of simply asking, what do you do?, Try asking, what's your story?
It's about encouraging them to paint a richer picture of their life,
Okay.
sharing those unique experiences that have shaped their perspective.
Let's shift gears a bit and discuss the recognition crisis that Brooks describes.
Yes.
He argues that rising rates of loneliness and political tribalism stem from a deep-seated human need for recognition.
It's this fundamental human need to feel seen, valued, and respected for who we truly are.
Right.
And Brooks observes that our society frequently prioritizes certain traits over others, leaving many feeling unseen and unheard.
He even suggests that some people gravitate towards politics because it offers a tempting sense of belonging and purpose.
Right.
Have you ever felt that pull towards political engagement to find community or meaning?
While it's a common path, Brooks warns that seeking fulfillment through politics can ultimately be a hollow pursuit, often leading to division rather than genuine connection.
Brooks then pivots back to individual experience, sharing a poignant anecdote about author Barbara Lazare Asher and her husband's terminal cancer diagnosis.
Okay.
Instead of succumbing to despair, they opt to celebrate life.
This story underscores the excavation task that Brooks encourages.
Okay.
It's about revisiting past traumas and disappointments, not to dwell in pain, but to gain a fresh perspective and facilitate healing.
It's an invitation to reflect on those unexamined events that might be shaping our present-day beliefs and behaviors. Are there any buried chapters in your story that warrant revisiting?
This process of self-discovery can be challenging,
Right.
but it's an essential step in understanding who we are and how we interact with the world.
Now let's explore the realm of personality.
Okay.
Brooks introduces the big 5 personality traits: openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism.
It's crucial to remember that these traits aren't rigid categories. We all possess a unique blend of these characteristics.
Brooks uses vivid examples from his book to illustrate how these traits manifest in real life, like Erica, who embodies extroversion with her lifelong pursuit of pleasure. He then contrasts Erica with the Bronte sisters, who, despite growing up in the same environment, had vastly different approaches to life, reflecting their distinct personalities.
It reinforces the notion that even individuals from similar backgrounds can perceive and experience the world in vastly different ways.
The good news is our personalities are not static.
Right.
Brooks emphasizes that we're not confined to the hand we're dealt. We have the capacity to evolve and change throughout our lives.
It's an empowering message reminding us that we are not defined by our past. We can choose to cultivate those aspects of our personality that we want to develop.
Finally, Brooks addresses the concept of life stages.
Okay.
While strict stage theories are outdated, he suggests that understanding developmental tasks can offer valuable insights into someone's life journey.
He highlights some key tasks, such as forming a self-image, navigating social acceptance, discovering purpose in a career, and eventually giving back to others.
It's this journey of self-discovery and growth that ultimately shapes how we connect with others. Where do you feel you are on this journey, and what challenges are you currently grappling with?
These are certainly questions worth pondering.
Well, that brings us to the end of part 1.
All right.
We've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
Join us for part 2, where we'll delve even deeper into these themes.
Sounds good. In this section, Brooks examines those pivotal moments of transition and how they shape our comprehension of ourselves and others. He uses a powerful analogy of an infant recognizing they are distinct from their parents, or a teenager realizing their identity extends beyond their friendships.
So it's a process of separating our sense of self from external factors.
Exactly.
And cultivating a more autonomous, internally driven identity.
Right. Brooks posits that this shift is essential for genuine growth and mature relationships.
He introduces the concept of the generative task, illustrating it through the story of Adam Newman, a participant in the GRANT study, a longitudinal research project tracking men's lives.
Newman's journey is particularly enlightening. He begins as an unsympathetic character, emotionally underdeveloped and fixated on ambition.
Okay.
Later in life, he undergoes a profound transformation, becoming more compassionate and focused on contributing to something larger than himself.
So it reminds us that personal growth can occur at any point in life,
Absolutely.
often unexpectedly.
Brooks suggests this generative phase is characterized by a transition from self-centeredness to a more other-focused perspective.
And this transition often coincides with moving into leadership positions,
Precisely.
where individuals guide and support others instead of solely chasing personal gain.
Brooks explores the difficulties of this transition, drawing on research from psychologists like Robert Keegan, who suggests that genuine growth often requires confronting our limiting beliefs and embracing new ways of thinking and being.
It's a process of releasing old patterns and developing a more expansive worldview that acknowledges our interconnectedness with others and the world around us.
Absolutely. And then he transitions to the captivating topic of life stories.
Okay.
Brooks recounts an anecdote about psychologist Dan McAdams, who studies how individuals construct their personal narrative.
Interesting.
McAdams asks participants to share their life stories, and most find the experience deeply meaningful, even cathartic.
This highlights our innate need to share our stories, to feel heard and understood.
Right, it's through storytelling that we make sense of our experiences and forge connections.
Brooks advocates for asking open-ended questions that allow others to express their experiences in their own words,
Exactly.
instead of imposing our interpretations or assumptions.
He also notes that our life stories are constantly evolving, influenced by new experiences and shifting perspectives.
This narrative flexibility allows us to adapt to changing circumstances and integrate new information into our understanding of ourselves.
Brooks introduces the concept of the imago, the idealized picture we create of ourselves, often rooted in early childhood experiences.
Okay.
He uses the example of actress Viola Davis, who shares her powerful story of growing up in poverty, facing racism, and ultimately forging a resilient identity as a fighter.
It demonstrates how our personal narratives are often shaped by those formative experiences, the challenges we've overcome, and the ways we've learned to cope with adversity.
Brooks also cautions against constructing overly simplistic or idealized life stories. He emphasizes the importance of acknowledging our imperfections, embracing life's messy realities, and recognizing that our journeys are rarely linear or predictable.
He encourages us to embrace those unexpected twists and turns, to view our lives as a series of waves, each carrying us in new directions.
Now he delves into the power of asking insightful questions instead of focusing on superficial details. Brooks suggests asking questions that encourage deeper reflection and self-awareness.
Okay.
He shares a story about Zora Neale Hurston, the renowned author and anthropologist known for her bold spirit and insatiable curiosity.
From a young age, Hurston possessed an innate desire to connect with people from all walks of life. She would literally hop into carriages with strangers, peppering them with questions, eager to comprehend their experiences and perspectives.
Her insatiable curiosity, combined with her deep understanding of her cultural heritage, shaped her unique voice and perspective as a writer.
Brooks emphasizes how Hurston's awareness of her ancestral legacy, both the triumphs and traumas, gave her the strength and resilience to navigate a world that often sought to diminish her.
It's a powerful reminder that understanding our family history, the stories passed down through generations, can provide a profound sense of grounding and purpose.
Brooks then takes us on a fascinating exploration of cultural differences, drawing on research from anthropologists and psychologists who study how our values and beliefs are molded by the societies in which we live.
He highlights the stark contrast between individualistic cultures, often found in the West, which emphasize self-reliance and personal achievement, and collectivistic cultures more prevalent in the East, which prioritize group harmony and social interdependence.
He uses marriage patterns as an example in Western cultures. It's common for couples to establish their separate households,
Right.
whereas in many other parts of the world, multi-generational living is the norm.
These cultural variations have a profound impact on how we perceive ourselves, how we relate to others, and even how we interpret the world around us.
Brooks cautions against oversimplifying these cultural divides, acknowledging that there's a wide range of individual variation within any culture.
He also delves into the concept of cultural inheritance, arguing that our beliefs and behaviors are often shaped by the historical legacies of our ancestors, the ways they adapted to their environments, and the values they passed down through generations.
He uses the example of settlement patterns in the United States, contrasting the communal, egalitarian values of New England with the more individualistic, self-reliant culture of Appalachia, tracing these differences back to the early colonial period.
It's a fascinating illustration of how historical events can have long-lasting impacts on the cultural norms and values of a region even centuries later.
Brooks also reflects on his personal cultural inheritance as a Jewish person, acknowledging the profound influence of his ancestors' experiences of exile and persecution, shaping his sense of belonging and his empathy for those who feel like outsiders.
It serves as a potent reminder that understanding our cultural heritage, both the joys and sorrows, can offer a rich source of insight and connection with others.
Brooks then shifts to the importance of recognizing individual uniqueness, even within a shared cultural background.
He reminds us that while cultural generalizations can be helpful, they should never overshadow the richness and complexity of individual experience.
He uses the example of Zora Neale Hurston, again emphasizing that her work celebrated the diversity and individuality of Black people resisting the tendency to flatten their experiences into a single narrative.
It's a powerful reminder that true understanding requires us to see beyond stereotypes and to appreciate the unique blend of influences that shape each person's life.
He encourages us to approach others with a sense of wonder and curiosity, to ask questions that reveal their inner depths, and to listen with genuine attentiveness.
And in doing so, we open ourselves up to the possibility of genuine connection and understanding, recognizing the common humanity that binds us together despite our differences.
Now, in the final section of How to Know a Person, Brooks transitions from exploring these broad themes to offering some practical advice on how to cultivate this deeper level of understanding in our daily interactions.
He emphasizes paying attention to those fleeting moments of insight, those glimpses into another person's soul that often occur unexpectedly.
He shares a personal story about a teacher who challenged his tendency towards glibness, recognizing his potential for deeper thought and pushing him to engage more authentically with ideas.
It's a powerful reminder that sometimes those who truly see us can also challenge us to grow, to become more fully ourselves.
Brooks then offers a series of vignettes, each highlighting the different aspect of deep seeing. He recounts stories of historical figures like Franklin Roosevelt, who had an uncanny ability to size up people and predict their future trajectories, and literary characters who are brought to life through the author's insightful observations and descriptions.
He also shares his experience of rereading a biography and being struck by the author's insightful portrayal of the subject, realizing that the author had captured something essential about that person's character that had initially eluded him.
He suggests that these moments of deep seeing are often marked by a sense of recognition, a feeling that someone has pierced through our facades and glimpsed our true selves.
It's a humbling and often transformative experience, one that can foster growth and connection.
Brooks then delves into the concept of wisdom, arguing that it's not simply about accumulating knowledge, but about developing a deep understanding of human nature.
It's about recognizing those recurring patterns of behavior, understanding how our past experiences shape our present-day actions, and developing the empathy to navigate the complexities of human relationships.
He highlights the importance of cultivating what he calls a compassionate awareness of others' struggles, recognizing their vulnerabilities and celebrating their resilience.
He then shares a powerful story about Deho, a young man who survived the Rwandan genocide and eventually made his way to the United States. Deho's journey is a testament to the indomitable human spirit, the capacity to overcome unimaginable hardship, and to rebuild a life filled with meaning and purpose.
Brooks recounts how author Tracy Kidder, who wrote a book about Deho's life, accompanied him back to Rwanda, retracing his steps through the heart of darkness.
It's a poignant reminder that truly understanding another person's story often requires us to step outside of our comfort zones and to confront the painful realities of their experiences.
Brooks then shares another compelling story about John, a successful businessman struggling with grief and anger after the death of his son. John seeks therapy from Lori Gottlieb, a therapist known for her compassionate and insightful approach.
Gottlieb patiently listens to John's stories, recognizing his defense mechanisms and gently guiding him towards a deeper understanding of his own pain.
It's been a beautiful example of how empathy and skillful questioning can help someone unlock buried emotions and begin to heal from past trauma.
Brooks also highlights the importance of recognizing that even those who seem to have it all together are often carrying hidden burdens.
He shares a story about his friend Peter, who battled depression for years. Brooks reflects on his own struggles to support Peter, acknowledging his initial missteps and emphasizing the importance of simply being present and offering unconditional love.
It's a poignant reminder that sometimes the most valuable gift we can offer someone who's struggling is our unwavering presence, our willingness to sit with their pain and to offer comfort without judgment.
He then shares a powerful scene from the movie Good Will Hunting, where a therapist confronts Will, a brilliant but troubled young man, with the truth about his own defenses and challenges him to embrace vulnerability and emotional depth.
It's a beautiful example of how a skilled listener can help someone break through their self-imposed barriers and begin to confront their deepest fears and insecurities.
Brooks then circles back to the theme of shared understanding, emphasizing the importance of creating what he calls communities of truth.
These are spaces where individuals can come together, share their ideas and perspectives, and engage in respectful dialogue, seeking deeper understanding and collective wisdom.
He argues that these communities of truth can take many forms, from intimate conversations with friends to the grand collaborative endeavor of scientific inquiry.
He also highlights the transformative power of reading, where we engage in a dialogue with the minds of authors across time and space, expanding our perspectives and deepening our understanding of the human condition.
Brooks then shares a quote from Douglas Hofstadter, a cognitive scientist who argues that our individual consciousness is ultimately an illusion, a product of our interconnectedness with the minds of others.
It's a thought-provoking idea that challenges us to see ourselves as part of a larger web of consciousness, our thoughts and beliefs shaped by the ongoing dialogue with those around us.
He recounts a personal anecdote about attending a conference and being struck by the depth and complexity of the conversations, realizing that his own tendency to dominate conversations was hindering his ability to truly listen and learn.
It's a humble reminder that even those of us who pride ourselves on our intellectual prowess can often benefit from stepping back and allowing others to take the lead, recognizing that true understanding often requires us to surrender our need to be right or to be the center of attention.
In closing, Brooks reflects on his own journey of self-discovery, acknowledging his flaws and areas for growth.
He emphasizes that cultivating the art of deep seeing is a lifelong endeavor, one that requires humility, patience, and a willingness to challenge our biases and assumptions.
He shares his newfound appreciation for the richness and complexity of human experience, the ways in which our individual stories intersect and diverge, creating a tapestry of infinite variety and wonder.
It's a hopeful message, a reminder that even in a world often marked by division and misunderstanding, the potential for genuine connection and shared understanding remains within reach.
Well, there you have it, our whirlwind tour through David Brooks's insightful book, How to Know a Person. Welcome back, listeners. I hope you've had some time to process the concepts we've explored from David Brooks's How to Know a Person. It's been a journey.
It really has.
Uncovering the nuances of human connection.
Absolutely.
As we conclude our deep dive, let's distill some key takeaways.
Right.
What insights resonated with you as particularly practical or transformative?
Well, one of the most compelling points Brooks makes is the importance of moving beyond that initial sizing up we often do when encountering someone new.
Okay.
Instead of relying on superficial traits or preconceived notions, we should cultivate a genuine curiosity about their inner world.
So every individual carries a unique story shaped by a lifetime of experiences.
Right.
It's about listening with genuine intent, asking those open-ended questions that invite them to share their narrative, and resisting the urge to interject our opinion.
Absolutely. Brooks encourages us to adopt what he calls the illuminator's gaze.
Okay.
A way of seeing the world through another person's eyes, recognizing their intrinsic worth and dignity, irrespective of our differences.
This concept beautifully illustrates the foundation of genuine connection. Approaching others with humility and a willingness to learn allows us to see beyond our limited perspectives.
Right.
And embrace the richness of their experiences.
Brooks delves into the fascinating world of brain science, revealing how our brains, relying on past experiences, create models of the world that can sometimes blind us to the unexpected.
It's a humbling reminder that our perceptions are not always accurate reflections of reality.
Absolutely.
We need to actively challenge our assumptions and remain open to alternative perspectives.
He introduces the concept of affordances.
Okay.
The idea that our perception is shaped by our capabilities and limitations.
So what seems possible for one person might seem impossible for another.
Exactly. And these discrepancies in perspective can create significant misunderstandings.
This is particularly crucial when engaging in conversations about sensitive topics, such as race, class, or gender. Recognizing that our experiences may differ vastly from someone else's helps us understand why their interpretation of the same event or situation might diverge from our own.
Brooks emphasizes the importance of cultivating empathy, not just as a fleeting feeling of sympathy, but as a skill we can hone through practice. It's about developing the emotional intelligence to genuinely understand another person's perspective and respond with compassion.
He offers practical tips, such as mirroring the other person's emotions, expanding our emotional vocabulary, and allowing ourselves to sit with their pain without trying to fix it.
He also highlights the power of co-regulation.
Okay.
This idea that in close, trusting relationships, our bodies help regulate each other's emotions, fostering a sense of calm and connection.
This concept underscores the profound influence of human touch and nonverbal communication in deepening our bonds with others.
Brooks's exploration of life stories is incredibly insightful.
Okay.
He champions the practice of inviting others to share their narratives without judgment or unsolicited advice, recognizing that everyone's journey is unique and there's no singular right way to live.
It's about creating a safe space for others to feel heard, valued, and understood.
Right.
Brooks also reminds us that our own life stories are constantly evolving, shaped by new experiences and shifting perspectives.
This narrative flexibility allows us to adapt to changing circumstances and integrate new information into our understanding of ourselves.
Okay.
He introduces the imago, that idealized self-image we often construct, frequently rooted in early childhood experiences. Understanding our own imago can shed light on our motivations and behaviors, both the positive and negative aspects.
Brooks assures us that our personalities are not fixed, but rather have the potential to evolve over time.
Right.
We can nurture those aspects we wish to develop and release those that no longer serve us.
Brooks also invites us to examine our cultural inheritance, acknowledging how our values and beliefs are shaped by the societies we inhabit and the historical legacies of our ancestors.
It's a fascinating exploration of how cultural differences can sometimes lead to misunderstandings, but also how recognizing those differences can foster greater empathy and cross-cultural understanding.
It's about appreciating the richness and diversity of human experience, acknowledging the multitude of valid ways to exist in the world, and approaching those differences with curiosity and respect.
Brooks concludes by offering us a framework for cultivating deeper understanding in our daily interactions.
Right.
He encourages us to pay attention to those fleeting moments of insight, those glimpses into another person's soul that often emerge unexpectedly.
He emphasizes the transformative power of those who truly see us, challenging us to grow and become more fully ourselves.
He reminds us that even those who appear to have it all together may be carrying hidden burdens, and sometimes the most valuable gift we can offer is our unwavering presence, offering comfort without judgment.
Brooks stresses the significance of creating communities of truth spaces where individuals can gather, share their perspectives, engage in respectful dialogue, and seek collective wisdom.
These communities can take many forms, from intimate conversations with friends to the collaborative pursuit of scientific inquiry. Brooks also highlights the transformative power of reading, where we engage in a dialogue with authors across time and space, expanding our perspectives and deepening our understanding of the human condition.
He shares a quote from Douglas Hofstadter, who suggests that our individual consciousness is ultimately an illusion, a product of our interconnectedness with the minds of others.
It's a profound idea that challenges us to see ourselves as part of a larger web of consciousness, our thoughts and beliefs shaped by ongoing dialogues with those around us.
Brooks emphasizes that cultivating the art of deep seeing is a lifelong endeavor, one that requires humility, patience, and a willingness to challenge our own biases and assumptions.
He leaves us with a hopeful message, reminding us that even in a world often characterized by division and misunderstanding, the potential for genuine connection and shared understanding remains within reach.
So before we conclude our deep dive, let's recap 10 key takeaways from David Brooks's How to Know a Person that you can apply to your own life.
I love that idea. Let's hear them.
Number 1, cultivate active curiosity. Approach each individual with genuine interest and a willingness to learn from their experiences. Number 2, embrace the illuminator's gaze. Seek to understand the world through another person's perspective, recognizing their inherent worth and dignity. Number 3, recognize the power of life stories. Invite others to share their narratives without judgment, creating a space for them to feel heard and valued. Number 4, remember that personalities can evolve. We have the capacity to grow and change throughout our lives, nurturing those aspects of ourselves that we want to develop. Number 5, understand the influence of affordances. Recognize that our perceptions are shaped by our capabilities and limitations, and that what seems possible for one person may not be possible for another people. Number 6, practice empathy. Develop the emotional intelligence to genuinely understand another person's perspective and respond with compassion. Number 7, acknowledge the impact of cultural inheritance. Recognize how our values and beliefs are shaped by the societies we inhabit and the historical legacies of our ancestors. Number 8, challenge your assumptions. Be willing to confront your biases and consider alternative perspectives, especially when engaging in conversations about sensitive topics. Number 9, create communities of truth. Seek out spaces where individuals can gather, share their perspectives, engage in respectful dialogue, and pursue collective wisdom. Number 10, embrace the ongoing journey of self-discovery. Recognize that cultivating the art of deep seeing is a lifelong endeavor that requires humility, patience, and a willingness to challenge our own limitations.
Those are incredibly valuable takeaways as we navigate our relationships. It's essential to remember the power of truly seeing someone. Ask yourself, what assumptions am I making? Am I truly listening? Am I allowing space for their unique perspective? These are the keys to unlocking deeper connection and understanding.
And on that note, I encourage you to keep pondering the question we posed earlier. If you could ask someone one question to truly see them, what would it be? Continue exploring these ideas and apply them in your interactions with others.
Until next time, happy diving.